welcome to the weekly show, or in this case, the last show of 2025 here on Skaredcast Live. This is the show I tend to do every single week for patrons and members. So every once in a while, I open the vaults and let you know what you're missing out on. And this is an opportunity for us to hang out, chat, and muse about a variety of different things. It tends to be Fridays around 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But thanks for coming to hang out. Today is one of those cool days where I get to interact with you, the chat, and we have a bunch of patron questions that we're going to be going over, as well as the coveted list crunch, where patrons get to submit army lists every week, and it's like a list clinic, a Warhammer 40,000 list clinic, where I'll read over cool list concepts and give my thoughts on the development and process of building, developing, using an army list in and of itself. So thanks a lot for coming to hang out. Hello, Falls, what's going on? Brimstone, what's going on? Thanks for coming to chill out. Hello, William Payne. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. And of course, in a couple of hours, we have the next battle report that'll be released, which is exciting, which I really like as well. So it's very cool to see everybody. Thanks for coming to hang out. And yeah, so we'll start the show with a little bit of what's happened sort of like in gaming, in like Skari's life, I guess, is a good way to put it. From gaming to hobby to a variety of different things. Happy Friday, some red. What's going on? It is Friday. Imagine 19th of December. We're almost at Christmas time. You know, of course, happy holidays, Hanukkah, holidays, Christmas, whatever. It's like the holiday season. And then we have New Year's, which is really fun too. So what has happened in my life? Well, I've continued to do a bunch of content, especially like mini wargaming and whatnot. And this week was no different. I actually ended up going to mini wargaming for an extra day. So I filmed a Warhammer 40,000 battle report, which should be posted today on their channel. Played against Harlequins, which was really fun. And 10th edition, which we haven't done in a ton of time, like a long time. So that was very entertaining to kind of like take Josh through the ropes of 10th edition 40k. But it's funny how like when folks are so far detached from 10th edition 40k, it's like coming back into it is not easy for people. You know, it's just like a different beast from like the old 3rd and 4th edition stuff, things that we've been like playing a lot to make content, and I'm really excited about like kind of getting back into it. Then I filmed Frostgrave, which if you don't know Frostgrave, right? Yes, I'm a 40k player. I play Dark Eldar, I play Black Templars, I play 40k, right? Like I'm generally a GW shill. However, it says 30 years worth of playing Games Workshop games. I've been really enjoying this little game called Frostgrave. Man, I did not take my meds today. I have ADHD medication because of the fact that my brain goes all crazy. And whenever I start rambling like this and I can't sit on one topic for like more than 2 seconds, I'm like, I instantly know that I haven't taken my ADHD medication. Because my brain decides to go all over the freaking place. I've been managing my ADHD for a little over a year now. Remarkable difference. How much I've been able to like actually get work done, have conversations with people, listen. It's crazy different than what I was used to, which was just what you just saw right there. Is there hope the Grotesque come back in 11th edition? Machine! I don't know. Good morning, Big Ron. What's going on? I don't know. Like right now, they're legends. It's fun, actually. Talking about legends, you just reminded me. So I started a campaign, a Crusade campaign with my brother, Joaquin, and we filmed 3 episodes of a Nachmund Gauntlet Crusade at Mini Wargaming. And this was a while back. It was, what, last year almost? And it's taken a while, but my brother's finally to next Tuesday, like on Tuesday. We're gonna film the I'm just gonna film the finale of that little campaign that we started. I'm not sure if it'll be 2 games or 1 game, but it's gonna be a finale. Like I'm finally gonna be able to put it to bed, and it'll be nice to kind of come full circle with that, which is really cool. Which will be the Crusade Knockbone Gauntlet. So you finally got a bunch of stuff painted for it and things, and et cetera, et cetera. So we're gonna get together on the 22nd, gonna film that, which will be cool. Then we can put that to bed. Boom. And then move on to something else. I've heard rumors we get a range refresh in 11th, says Animal. I don't know. We'll see. There's lots of, like, it'd be cool to get cool range refreshes and stuff. Hello, Eduardo Herrera Camorro. Falls, I need to go back to finish watching those. Yeah, you should. The Crusade stuff is really fun. 2 games sounds good, says Big Rob. Of course, 2 games sounds good. 3 games sounds better. Depends on how much I can get done in a day of filming. Today I've got what is it? The battle report that'll be up today is against Space Wolves. I got Ben to bring the brand new Space Wolf Detachment out, which is really cool. We did end up playing one stratagem wrong, which had a big impact on the game, but it is what it is. Whatever. We had a fun time. And then I have another one in the can. That's against Harlequins, like another game against Harlequins, against William Barry, which was very, very fun. Slobber knocker of a match. And then I've got one against, I'm filming a Thousand Suns game on Monday. So I guess my holiday doesn't start till Wednesday? Because I have 2 more days of filming. But I just need to make sure I had a couple of battle reports in the can to be able to release to all of you folks. Because I enjoy making sure you have some content to watch. Brimstone, is there a reason why Mini Wargaming stopped filming 10th edition? Yeah, like, mainly because they didn't really enjoy it, you know, and it's because, like, 10th edition 40k, if you want to, like, get good 10th edition content, like, you don't go to Mini Wargaming to watch that. You go to, like, Tabletop Tactics, or, you know, Vanguard Tactics, or Tabletop Titans, or, like, Play on Tabletop. There are so many different sort of companies that run 10th edition 40k or create 10th edition 40k content at a much higher level, lots of more editing than like Mini Wargaming is ever going to really be able to do. And so Mini Wargaming isn't really like the place you go to watch 10th edition. You know, Mini Wargaming is the place you go to watch like really cool narrative campaigns and stories on tables that are like insanely cool looking, right? And it's just like a bunch of, like, there's 4 or 5 of us just having a hoot, playing like these really cool like narrative games and like narrative stories and campaigns, and in a setting where like no other company can really kind of match that, right? But in terms of 10th edition content, there's that aspect where there's like companies doing it better with high production value, and there's also the rat race of 10th edition, right? Like, the rat race of 10th edition is real, or like just Games Workshop current edition. It's just a constant hamster wheel that they just grind that hamster wheel, right? So it's like, is it worth the effort of just like some companies do that very well, like Art of War, for example, is just constantly like, it's a new video every day, and they're doing the tier list every week, and it's just like a regurgitation of like consumable content, which like, you have to be in a constant churning of just never-endingly doing the same thing over and over, but a little bit different, which is very similar to, like, I know, your news feed, right? It's like one story that they milk for like 12 hours with different experts and stuff like that. So it's very similar to like the cultural zeitgeist that we're seeing nowadays. And it gets it's draining, and it's like really boring at times, where it's like, I don't really feel like talking about why this balanced data slate is the next best thing since sliced bread. So I understand where they're coming from, you know what I mean? Any time of the holidays to do some video games or hobby hangouts? Oh yes, absolutely. I've gone back into Rogue Trader, and I got the DLCs for Rogue Trader, so I'm really looking forward to trying to, like, I've been actually reading the rogue like actually listening and reading more and actually playing the game and trying to not just rush through, because last time I did it I rushed through Act 1 super fast, but now I've got the DLCs and there's a whole bunch of extra stuff happening. I'm trying to like read it and soak in the story, so I'm having a lot more fun with it, and I'm going for a more iconoclast rogue trader, you know, but I with some dogmatic elements where I'm like, kill them all or whatever. Uh, so I'm having a lot of fun with it now. But yes, we shall do some hobby hangouts, some video game hangouts on the Discord for sure. Merry Grotmas, Brent Drake, what's going on? Early Merry Christmas, Chris B. Thank you very much to you as well. Nick Johnson says, more content, Skari. I must consume. I'm trying my best. I went from doing World Battle Report every 2 weeks because I was traveling so much last year to now I've consistently done a battle report every week, which is what I would normally do. And then usually something else every week, especially for patrons. And then all the patrons, by the way, get all access to all the stuff I do for a paywall. So like mini wargaming paywall, or if I do something for an Art of War paywall, like my patrons get access to all of that stuff as well as a bonus for being a patron. So if you just want like stuff that I create, whether I create it with Art of War or create it with mini wargaming or create it with, I don't know, if I do something with Fireside 40K or whatever, like I will definitely be, it gets released for my patrons as well. So there's lots of content, lots of extra content for all of you. Hope to get my first Berry Bash next year, says Big Ron. Nice. Yeah, Feliz Navidad. What's going on, Mr. Witt? So, Mark, is the access to the Discord free? So how do I access? There is a free access to the Discord. You have to go to the patron page, go to the tabs, and go to the collections tab. And there's a collections tab called promos. And then you go there and then you find the post that says calling all rogue traders. And then there's a link to the Discord there where you can join as a rogue trader, which is like the free like access. So you don't get access to the entire parts of the Discord, and like you can't post like everything, and you don't get access to all the extra free content that I do for patrons specifically, but you get access to the Discord community. And yes, you have to do a little bit of digging, right? That's the whole point. You're a rogue trader, you have to find the Dark City. You can't just like waltz in, right? If not, where's the effort? You have to put some effort into it. But there is free access to the Discord. Other than that, yeah, so the weekly show, of course, is a show where patrons get to post questions. Of course, today we're opening up to all of you. So please feel free to post questions if you really want me to get to it. Like, you're not a patron, and just like super chats really help and stuff. If you're just watching this, hang around. We're going to chat. There's also, if you share the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, which I have to say because apparently it does work. But it's really exciting, and I'm really excited to have all of you here today with me. Let's talk a little bit about hobby before we jump into the Q&A. So I finished my Black Templar Sternguard veterans to a point where I'm happy with them, and now I'm working on my Infernus Marines, or whatever they're called. And I did a little bit, first time I've done like the little blackening on the edges of the flamers, have to do the shoulder pads. And then Ryan, or Brinjar, from the Discord, sent me a Christmas present. He sent me a squad of witches and a squad of Cabalite warriors, and they're awesome. They're painted really nicely, and I'm just basing them to match my bases, which I did ask him if I could do. And so I got an extra unit of Cabalites, an extra squad of witches, and that's really, thank you, Ryan. That means a lot. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and thanks a lot for the gift. And I've gotten to use the witches actually in a couple of battle reports already, which is really cool. So really, really looking forward to it. These are probably going to stand in as a Hand of the Archon, or as like a, like an elite unit of Cabalites if I do a campaign or crusade or whatever, which will be really, really fun as well. So without further ado, folks, this Friday, December the 19th, 2025, just to date this video if you are listening in. Yeah. So, hello, Emperor Zanon. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, you're just brand new to hanging out. I'm Skari. I play Dark Eldar Drukhari, Black Templars, Imperial Guard, Sisters of Battle. I play Warhammer in general. I also am like top 6 in the world ITC ranking last season. That's right. And #1 Drukhari player in the world. Other than that, I do coaching. I do lots of content. So thanks a lot for hanging out if you just didn't know anything about that. So thanks a lot. Let's dive into some Q&A questions. So if you're a patron, you can post a question. Today, post it in the chat. Archon Morsan says, hey, DS, thank you so much for the super chat. Holy moly. Greetings from the hospital. Our nurgling is happy and healthy. Congratulations. We're getting discharged today. Keep being awesome. Don. Congratulations, Don. Congratulations. Really, really, to you and yours. Merry Christmas. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Don't forget your Necron trophy. Yes, I do play Necrons, and I won Best Necron Player in the world. I have a trophy to prove it. It's actually with other trophies in the studio. You are the Skari, #1 in our hearts. Thank you, Mark. Makes me happy inside. Makes me happy and fuzzy. Ah, thanks, Don. Don, you're awesome. I love that you just did the Mark and Nurgle number for the super chat. It's like, that's why I love you folks. Don has respawned. No crabs. They're multiplying. That's funny. But congratulations, mate. That's awesome. That's fan freaking tastic to hear. Moving on, Archon Morsan says, how best do you use Talos? I'm looking to have 2 groups of 2. What weapon loadouts are viable options? What detachments work well for Talos? That's a great question, Archon Morsan. So how best do I use Talos? So I use Talos in one of 2 ways. Either a deterrent, where I like hide them behind a wall and deter my opponent from coming into a general area, ready to like pop out and kind of like kill a target or countercharge or soak a charge. Now they have the like they have the fight on death on a 2+. So 2 groups of 2 is probably the maximum number of Talos I would run. I can run 3 groups of 2, like I do have the 6. But I tend to like 1 unit of 2 is what I do when I'm trying to like build a list concept around like just them in a supporting role. 2 units of 2 is like, okay, you're investing in them and they have to really do something, because that's like 320 points, right? So like they need to do something. As for weapon loadouts, the entirety of 10th edition, I have really enjoyed twin linked Haywire blasters, the twin-linked liquefier gun, and the Talos Gauntlet. Now, the Talos Gauntlet does hit on 4s. It's AP2 3 damage. It's 5 attacks each. So a lot of folks have been liking the macro scalpels lately, which is the hit on 3s, either twin-linked, right? Strength like 7 AP, 1, 2 damage or whatever, or the 1 like macro scalpel for the better hitting. I still think the 3 damage is awesome. However, the Archons have 3 damage now, so it's not as needed. But I really love the twinlet liquefier gun on the Talos, because it gives you like an Overwatch threat. It gives you a like something to just like shoot at like trash or whatever. It's twin linked, so you can kind of pull a wound off of a vehicle if you need to. Like say a knight lives with like 1 wound after like the Haywires don't kill it or whatever, and you can like try and liquefire it to death or whatnot. So that's how I like it. And the second way that you play Talos is in a reactive role. So like when I'm running 1 unit of Talos, I like to put it in strategic reserve a lot of the time, depending on the deployment, right? Because if I can't really hide them in a place where they can stage effectively, I like bringing them in reserve, like as a rapid ingress threat, or they come in on a side or a flank and then kind of like shoot their guns and then exist in an area that your opponent is trying to, say, get aggressive in. So those are the 2 ways that I use them most effectively. The key to Talos is to understand that they're going to die very quickly or a lot faster than you think. So don't just run them into the middle of the table and expect them to live in this current edition of the game. And that's sort of like my thoughts on Talos, Archon Morsan. But thank you for your question. Nick says, I was chatting with the Drukhari guy from 6++, and he runs everything with haywires and subscribes to the theory of just roll sixes. Seems very casino-y, but what are your thoughts? Oh, I love haywires with Talos. They are very good. The like the twin linked on the haywire Talos means that they're good at that. They just randomly roll sixes and just do damage. So into like Terminators or monsters or like, I love the twin linked haywire guns on the Talos. And now that the haywire guns hit on threes, they are even better than they were before. They used to hit on fours as well. So good thing to keep in mind. The next question is from Heaven's Teeth. Hi, Skari. Hello, Heaven's Teeth. Hoping you can explain the benefit of the enhancement in Cult of Speed called Faster Than Use, which allows the bearer's unit to charge after disembarking from a transport, which makes a normal move. Surely, disembarking first for an extra 3 inches of movement, the freedom to move through walls as infantry, combined with advance and charge in the war turn, yields a better threat range? I use a battle wagon which struggles to avoid pivoting, giving me a move of 10 to 2, 10, -2, disembark 3, 2d6 charge, using the enhancement versus disembark 3, move 6, advance d6 plus 2d6 charge on the war turn. I assume I can't disembark in advance after the wagon moved. Thanks for helping answer the question. It's been bugging me as I write my lists. Hello, Luca Briatoni. I'm new to Warhammer. 1 year in the game, started with Drukhari. Welcome to the game. But Heaven's Teeth. So, to answer your question, it's more of a tactical choice, right? And I wouldn't necessarily use it with a battle wagon. I would probably use it with like a truck, right? But it's more for like a staging. Depends on like what style of terrain layout you're playing. But being able to move a truck like 12 inches forward, it's a guaranteed movement of 12 plus a 3-inch disembark. So it's like a 15-inch move, which you can get, right, if you roll a 6 on an advance. So other than going through walls, it's just a lot more reliable speed distance. And the fact that you can use it outside of the war turn means that it is dangerous, right? So you can use it either after you've warred or before you've warred to sort of like have that threat range. As a Dark Eldar player that has the Sky Splinter Assault detachment stratagem to be able to do essentially the same thing, I'll tell you, it is worth its weight in gold. Being able to just have a vehicle really far back, be able to yeet a vehicle forward, disembark and charge is very strong. A lot of the times, though, it might not necessarily come down to it, based on the fact that, yes, you're hiding behind a wall, and you can't just like, move the vehicle through the wall or whatever. But having the threat can sometimes be more powerful than using the rule, right? And I think that's the tactical choice that you'll put in. It just puts it in your back pocket where you can, if you want, just have a unit like you can yeet this transport forward, disembark unit and charge. It also means that you're not advancing. So if you have anything that needs shooting, you get the speed without having to have like assault weapons. So you can move them up, disembark, and still shoot a bunch, and then charge as well, right? So it gives you like multiple tactical options for that as well without having to rely on the war turn, right? Luke says, I love the Hand of the Archon and I'm playing Reapers. What do you think about? Yeah, I like it. It's good. You only get 1 war turn. This works well on your non-war turn, which is, yeah, NMO. That's exactly what I said there. I found it really difficult to play against monsters with army. Yes, Luca, yeah. You need Dark Lances. And anything with lethal hits works really well. Do you think I should try another detachment? You should try whatever you want to play, Luca. Just play whatever you'd like. Disembark also doesn't trigger reactive moves. Yes, Dawn is very true. So like a disembark, so like move up to just outside of the reactive move range, disembark within the reactive move range, allows you to circumvent a lot of these units that have like sort of like reactive moves that can get away from you when you do your war turn, or so like move block you better, or get onto objectives or behind cover. So yes, it's like a tactical option, which is very, very powerful. Thanks, Skari. I've been using it on Big Boy Squad in the wagon. May try something more like a scalpel out of a truck. That's how I would use it because the battle wagon's like big and unwieldy. It would like I'd find it better use in like a truck with like a like say a war boss with a unit of knobs or something. Or mega armored war boss with mega knobs. Just like yeet them up. They're not super fast, but the truck makes them super fast, right? Looking forward to seeing you at Wet Coast. Oh, I'm so excited. So, yes, I will be at Wet Coast GT in late January, which is super exciting. Should be flying in on Thursday. Then I'm going to be filming at Play on Tabletop on Friday. So I've organized like a filming day with Play on Tabletop, which is going to be awesome. And then we've got the GT for Saturday, Sunday. And I'll be there with the Red Dragon crew, Dan and the Red Dragon, who's still sponsoring me this season. Not as crazy, but we're going to be doing a lot of events together and kind of continuing that relationship, which was very awesome last year. So I'm looking forward to this year as well, which I think is awesome. So, but I hope that helps you, Heaven's Teeth. We'll move on from there. Honey Monster. You know, every time I say your name, Honey Monster, it's like I picture like Winnie the Pooh, but like very angry Winnie the Pooh. Where's my honey? Any plans for US appearances in 2026? So right now it looks like Challengers Cup or Challengers Cup is like the thing that I'm planning on being at. With the Red Dragon crew or the Art of War crew, depending on which one like gets organized, like which one I end up on. I am also Nick and the Art of War crew has asked me to come down for the Streamhouse RTT in April. Yeah, in April. So I'm looking forward to come down to that, which is really fun as well. But other than that, I don't really have any other sort of like events. Mini Wargaming is not going to Nova this year, which means I'm probably not going to be Adepticon. Not going to Adepticon, so I don't know if I'll be going to Adepticon or any of the. And then again, GW might ask me to shoutcast some of their events at some point, and if they do, I don't think they have like they haven't really released a full schedule yet of which events they're going to be doing, other than the ones that they sort of teased. Was it one in, is it the Netherlands? There's like a GT in the Netherlands they're doing. I hope they do another one in Canada, which would be really cool. And so maybe I'll do some shoutcasting, maybe Nova again, or I don't know. We'll see. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. So maybe I can do that again. And if so, then I will be planning to go to the States. But as of right now, no. I'm going to keep it more local and more national and more international. There is potential plans to go to a GT in Mexico, Bajío Open, which should be happening, I'm not sure when, but I have to contact Carlos from El Bunker and figure something out for that, because I really want to go to something like that. I think that'd be really fun too. So any plans for, have you thought about make an Xmas present, posting on Patreon a list or some Detachment Drukhari? I would love it. Posting on Patreon a list for some Detachment of Drukhari. I post lists all the time. Tiny typo. Do you think Hand of the Archon might end up being too good? I feel between Mandrakes, Hand of the Archon, and Venoms, Corsairs, Drukhari can really gum up the board early. Yeah, but I don't think the Hand of the Archon's really that good. Like, it's okay. But it's nice to have a tool like that, for sure. Emperor Zanan. Mexico would be nice. Yeah, I can't wait to go down. That'd be really fun. So, Honey Monster says, Hi, Skari. Hope you're well. I am well, thank you very much. I don't have a question as much as a request. Well, I don't know. This is the questions and answers period, not the requests. I'm kidding. I love your battle reports. Well, thank you. And it's really helpful to tag along for the full ride. Sadly, a lot of the times I don't have full 3 to 4 hours to watch an entire battle report. I remember that you used to shorten your live reports, cutting out movement phases, for example, and just telling what you did afterwards, cutting the reports about to 45 minutes. I know this is a lot of editing work, but is there any chance seeing you do that with some of your TTS battle reports in the future? So for anybody who doesn't know, I do record like the some TTS games I play, and I do post them up for patrons, for Scourge, Trueborn, Incubi, and Super Elite tier patrons. It's like a full. They're also like there's a way that I put them up for sale on the Patreon, so people like just buy them like for $3 or whatever. Just like it's like a token measure of support, but it's a full uncut battle report. It's 4 to 5 hours, 3 to 4 hours of like going through deployment and discussing everything. So they're like full length bat reps, which is cool. But Honey Monster, I just don't have the time to shorten them up. So I do like I'd love to, but the amount of work that would go into that, it's like I'm not sure if it's worth. Like I just don't have the time to put in. I'd love to do something like that, like abridge it or whatever. But it just, I don't know. This it would just be a different product. It wouldn't be like a tactical bat rep where you can listen to me literally during deployment or during movement, talking about everything that I'm thinking about as I'm doing it, so that you can learn what my thought process is like what I'm considering as I'm doing the moves while I'm doing the moves. That's like the point of those bat reps. Like I could do like a bat rep, like a just a entertainment game to kind of go through the motions. But it would sort of detract from what I want those to be, which is me like stream of consciousness going through the decision-making process so that folks can learn the decision-making process, which is the whole point of those bat reps. Like if I could, I could. But my regular battle reports, right, they're like 45 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes, like they're the recap bat reps, right? Hello, everyone, says Michael Buddy. Hello. I wish you all Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. If you don't celebrate, absolutely. Thanks a lot. You as well. Dariel Hussein says, hey, AI could probably do it. Feed it the video, tell it to just give details. Yeah, I could do that. I haven't really fiddled around with any, like, AI tools. Like, every once in a while, I've used ChatGPT to get, like, as an idea. I'll be like, give me an idea for this, and then it'll be like, spit something out, and I'll be like, okay. But then I always make it my idea. It just helps me start brainstorming. But then I don't really do anything with AI. I like using my brain. But yes, I guess it would be an easy way to do it, to just do it that way. I just don't really know A, what tool to use. B, do I really want to use it? Eh, not really. Great holiday season to you as well, Phil Gagnon. Okay, Honey Monster, I hope that answers your question. But thank you for the comment and question. Like, it's cool to see everybody getting excited about the bat reps. I enjoy filming them and posting them, so they're really fun. Okay, moving on. Brimstone asks, hello, Mr. Skari. Hello, Brimstone. I have run the night hunt detachment once in a doubles game, and it felt solid. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really enjoy pairing a Chaos Lord with my Warp Talons. Yep. They're very good. Like, I would hate it as an opponent of it. I'd be like, I don't want to deal with Warp Talons. I've also been having a lot of fun playing Chaos in general. The randomness of Dark Packs has been a blast. Well, when you pray to the dark gods of chaos, you never know what's going to happen. I'm curious how viable you think this detachment is overall. Would you recommend giving it a few more games, or would it be better to shift focus on another detachment like Creations of Biles, Renegade Raiders, or Veterans of Long War? You choose. I'm not going to answer that question for you. I think that, I'm going to answer the question, but not for you. So I think that any detachment can be viable in a competitive setting. Like, I'm assuming you mean from a competitive setting, Brimstone. But, I would say, yes, you can 100%. Any detachment can be viable. It's about how much effort do you put into learning how to use it in the meta, right? And if you learn how to use your detachment properly, you can make anything work. If you put the effort in, right? So it depends what you're vibing with. Are you vibing with it? Use that one. Are you vibing with Bile? Use Bile. Are you vibing? Like, you have to use what you're vibing with. If you're vibing with it, you'll 100% do better than if you're not vibing with it. But I'm glad you're enjoying that night hunt detachment, because it is a really fun, interactive sort of detachment. Lots of leadership shenanigans, and it just plays the game in a different way. And I feel like it is viable. Yeah. Anyone can cook, says Market Corn. Exactly. You build a list, you cook it up, you put it into practice, you see what it can do and stuff as well. So very, very neat. Okay, moving on. We have Mr. Foz. Hello, Skari. I hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you very much. On Saturday, I will be attending my first tournament. That is awesome. Even though it's a casual event, 1500 point Highlander format. So for anybody who doesn't know, Highlander format is there can be only one, right? So you can only have one of each unit. I much prefer playing games in the Highlander format. I feel like they are a lot more fun. I am still nervous, of course you are. Since signing up, it feels like I've been studying an exam, trying to get more comfortable with my army unit's rules, as well as all of the chapter-approved missions. Any advice to be in the right mindset going into my first game? I'm worried that I'll be so focused on not making a fool of myself that I won't take enough time to enjoy the games as they're happening. Thanks in advance. Happy holidays to you, your family, and all of the Denizen community. Thank you, Foz. Well, let's break it down. So, the best thing you can do when you go to an event is go to the event. Enjoy the time at the event. Soak it in. Just don't go in with any like crazy expectations. Just have fun. Like deploy your army. Like deploy and then draw your cards. And that's all you can do. Like that's what you can control. Like you can control your deployment, you can draw your cards, and then you just play the game. And once you get there, it does get easier. Remembering your own rules and stuff like that, it is what it is. Don't overthink it. And then the cool thing is, like, you go, you have a blast, you win, you lose, whatever happens. You have to like just enjoy the experience, right? And just meeting people. Like make it about the social aspect of meeting people, rolling dice with people you've never rolled dice against before, and hopefully that encourages you and gives you sort of like that eagerness to go back again, right? And that's the key, is if you find a nice thing like about it and you want to go back again, then you just do it again and again and again and again, and it's really cool. And then the rest is history. Like, don't stress too much about getting your rules right or wrong. What I would suggest is don't like read every list. Like, don't go through every single list of your opponents and stuff like that. Like, don't stress about that. Like, read your opponent's list when you get it in front of you, but don't like overcomplicate it for yourself by reading every list at the event, because you're not going to play every list at the event. There's no point in spending all that energy in that sense. Make sure you have food, water, like Advil, if you're going to get a headache potentially. Make sure you sit down a lot, right? And remember, it's like a marathon. You're going to be up for like 12 hours. Like it is a physically endurance, like it's the endurance you need to play Warhammer, like just back to back to back to back. It is insane. Like it is not easy. Not everyone can do it. So, but have fun with it. Enjoy that as well. Thank you for the well wishes, and happy holidays and New Year to all of you and your family as well. Tiny Typo says, a slightly improved rule to that detachment is super fun. The +1 hit against below off is just kind of meh. Almost never comes up. Yeah, sure. Some rules like that almost never come up for sure. Phil says, I've had good luck on Cartel and Cult. Once I have enough Coven units, I want to try that Detachment next. Yeah, it is fun. If you want to talk to someone who does the Cult stuff, speak to Ol Martin on the Discord. He's been running that Coven. He actually messaged me yesterday, which was really fun. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up. Because he's been playing the Coven for a while. And he sent me a message yesterday. Where was it? Where were you? There you are, Ol Martin. Okay, he says, I had a game with Coven tonight. My rack brick with twin torturer tools, battle-shocked an assault Terminator squad, and proceeded to do 24 devastating wounds with the dev strat. It's the first time I've managed to pull it off, but damn, it was rewarding. So there's potential, right, to do some crazy damage, which is pretty cool as well. That's really awesome, which is neat. Yeah, even the best players forget rules sometimes. Yeah, correct. That's a good point, to focus on the social interactions rather than dwell on the game. Thank you. Yeah. So like you're there because you're creating a network, right? You're creating a network of people who you're gonna go and see at these events multiple times. So it's a great opportunity for you to just create those like experiences with people, right? Brimstone, there's an event that's going to be 5 rounds in a day. I'm so tempted to try it. Yeah, the Iron Man style events. Yeah, you should. Like, Iron Man events are really intense. 5 rounds, back to back to back. You go till you drop, basically. So, I haven't done one yet, but I feel like I would die. Yeah, it'd be fun though. Moving on, Franco says, "Hi, Skari." Hello, Franco. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you as well. I am seeing a lot of players cutting scourges from their list, especially in Spectral Spite, which is a bad idea. A terrible, terrible idea. Just because Trimble does it doesn't mean it's a good idea. It works for him, right? Then again, Liam crushed him because he had no shooting in that one game they played, in my opinion. And the more I talk to Drukhari players that try the whole no scourge thing, not having shooting is a bad idea. Now, if you're going to a team event, that's one thing. You can really hyper focus on one thing. But I will tell you right now that it is risky to not take shooting. Anyway, sorry, I got really excited for a second there. Passionate. Passionate. Scourges are good. Arguing they don't provide enough for their point costs. It's not. Drives me crazy. Especially when facing stealth smoke. What are your thoughts on this? Thanks as always. Take scourges. You know, I have 3 in my Spectral Spite list. I have 2 Dark Lances, 1 Haywire, and I love it. I absolutely love my Scourge. They are awesome. And I have enough witch stuff in the detachment to take advantage of the witch stuff from that detachment. Just go watch the live stream I did at X Planet, and you can see why I love my Scourge. Okay, Scourge are just good. This is all. That's all I'm going to say about that. I would probably, like, the more I play, I don't think, like, I was, like, at the end of Worlds, I was like, I need 3 Scourge units, but I don't think I need 3. I think 2 is okay. I would probably do still 1 and 1 Dark Lance and Haywire. Silly me. Like, to be honest, but 2 Dark Lances are probably better in Spite as well as in Cartel. But that's just like, and then 130 points just gives me like another witch cult unit and something else or whatever. So, or another unit of bikes, or I don't know, a couple of different things. All in all, I'm just saying, like there is a like scourges are very useful. Yes, they're okay. Sure, they're not good against smoke, but it doesn't matter. It's the point that like they shoot and scoot. They're uninteractive. They have like they force your opponent to respect the open areas of the battlefield, right? Where like if they go into the open, they get shot and they might live, but they might also die, right? It's also really good against monsters. Like the only thing we have against monsters are like Dark Lances. Gross. Yeah, as someone who plays against Drukhari pretty often, please drop your Scourge, says Tiny Typo. See? Right? Exactly. Hello, Cueto. What's going on? I'm sure you already had this, but do you think the change regarding the Hand of the Archon and the split? I love it. I love it. I've been using the Hand of the Archon a lot since the split, for sure. I would smile so much if I knew the Drukhari players couldn't shoot. Exactly, Mark. Exactly. This conversation is pretty much why I'm adding tank busts as my call to speed. Yeah, you need some sort of shooting, okay? Like shooting, you need to crack out, like I don't care how many witches you have, like if they have a rhino and you can't kill this damn rhino in shooting, that rhino is so dangerous because then you can't get to the guys inside that you need to kill, right? Like the noise marines. Say there's noise marines in this rhino. I need to get to the noise marines, but I can only charge the rhino, sure. Then I can charge and maybe pile into the noise marines, sure, but it doesn't kill the noise marines. I need to crack open the rhino and then charge the noise marines. You know? Or you play against like War Dog spam. Sure, you can clog them up and take away all their primary, but it's like you need to be able to shoot one to death. Seems like you beef with Trimble. Oh no, no beef at all. It's about list concepts. I beef with list concepts. Let's just say that I'm very passionate about my Scourge. I fucking love my Scourge. Tyrannid player friend hates Scourges, never ever dropping them. Exactly. See, you understand. It's not like my, okay, just let me tell you this. It's not like my 30 years of experience playing this game has anything to do with my thought process. You know, I don't know anything, okay? I do not know anything. Just 30 years of experience. Don't know shit. You often use you used often Scourge with shard carbine. Why? What do you like them? I haven't really used them at all. The shard carbine Scourge. I've put them back into a few lists, but they tend to be one of the first things I cut. They're just a little too expensive. Oops, there goes the monetize. Actually, we're about an hour in. It's okay. Monetization is fine. Melee is only is a massive uphill battle. See, you all understand. A lot of you folks that know. Johnny says, good morning, Skari. Bringing Drukhari to my local RTT tomorrow. I was inspired by your run with the army. Well, thanks a lot for that. I had a lot of fun running the army. Have fun at your RTT, and let me know how it goes. Okay, moving on. Petal Warfare. In teams, what role does Drukhari army play in the Matrix? What role should they avoid? What matchup should they avoid? All these questions are assuming you have faction expert on them, as I don't see them as a truly pick up and play army. Fair. So Drukhari can be focused on like a couple of different things in teams. So one of the like easiest archetypes is like anti-vehicle, right? Like anti-knights or anti like hull spam, right? You can bring like Haywire, Dark Lances, you can ally in Harlequins, whatever. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff you can go like, I'm just gonna kill tanks. So that's one way. Another way you could do is, especially now with the Spectacle of Spite specifically, is you can really go in and leverage sort of like attacking the primary game because they're like a great denial. So like against an army that wants to really push the differential, you can just clog the works and just not let them get differential. So they're a good defending army, but like a more aggressive defending army where they can blunt an attack and against pretty much anything in the meta. And then you have something like Kabalite Cartel, which is more of an all-rounder army that you can use more for like the mix later in the thing, where you can kind of adapt to either vehicles, monsters, and mounted, right? Like infantry, and then do a little bit more damage. So you got like versatility, and then you've got Reaper's Wager, which is a very versatile one as well. So what roles should they avoid? Usually hard defender is a bit of an avoidance. You don't really want to just put like first or second defender. You don't put Dark Eldar down like early on because they tend to get attacked by two things that are going to give them trouble. So I love them as like an attacking thing to like the role you want to play as a team player with Drukhari is when your opponent sees that they put you down attacking them, you want them to like roll their eyes and be like, ugh, right? That's kind of the feel that you want. Yeah, so that's kind of like, and it's like a feeling more than anything. What matchup should you avoid? That requires practice because you can build a list that is so varied and based on skill set, it can be very varied as well. You know, like most Dark Eldar players would be like, oh, I don't really want to play against like Necrons or whatever. Like Awakened Dynasty or whatnot. But I'm like, I've played that matchup so many times that I'm okay with that matchup. And it's not going to be like a blowout either way, but I can play it. So it does depend on practice. So make sure that you do some test games and figure that part out. And yeah, that's it. And at the end of the day, it's key to make a Drukhari army that can essentially play against anything and can still sort of like tackle the primary. So like just make sure you have tools in there to like, don't typecast yourself or don't like overly focus on one thing, which is super important. Drukhari would play a great. Do you want Drukhari? Question mark, or the army you want you play against? Correct. Yeah. So it's like, do you just want to play against Drukhari and like pull your hair out for 3 hours, or do you want to play against this thing? Right? Yeah. Triple Plagueburst Crawler Hammer. I don't. That's actually the easier one of the. That's the easiest one to play against, Don. Trueborn Prowler says, my team and I are in a debate. In teams, we're debating what handles Grizzled Company more effectively. Superns Brood or Dark Eldar? You could make an army with both. I think Spectacle of Spite would be pretty good into Grizzled Company for sure. Me fastest. That falls. Completely random question. Do you grind your own coffee beans or do you normally buy pre-ground? I do both. I've done both. Well, yeah, I have a grinder upstairs, so I do grind my own coffee beans. I use a French press normally, so I like use a French press for my coffee. So either ground, like if I buy a packet of like pre-ground, or I buy the beans then grind it myself. Guard or Eldar, indirect spam. I hate anything else I'll play. Indirect is always an issue, especially if we start seeing Desolation Marines pop up again. Ugh, gross. Or whirlwinds. I freaking hate whirlwinds. But that's a great question. Moving on. Too much coffee. Speak about grinding coffee. Hello, Skari. Ho, 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 and happy holidays to you. To you as well. Question on how to deal with army-wide fight on death. The game in question was Spectral Spite into World Eaters, piloted by my regular practice partner, who knows how to deal with all of the elf trickery. World Eaters is usually a good matchup for me, and I thought I had him after my monsters drew out most of his army to the center within easy punching distance. Unfortunately, damage output on my go turn was surprisingly bad, and to make matters much, much worse, he had chosen Fight on Death as one of his blessings. My list was skewed towards melee damage output, but not significantly so compared to my GT winning Strength Spectral Spite lists. Aside from adding a bomber, how to deal with this very annoying mechanic. It's mutually assured destruction. So when they decide to go for something like that and they have a fight on death mechanic, you have to, every time you make a charge, you just have to be understanding and willing that you're going to lose that unit. And that's it. You know, and you're trying to do as much damage as possible before you go in, which is number one. One of the reasons why shooting is so important. Being able to shoot dark lances or like a bomber in that case, sure. But like shoot them down, grenade them, tank shock them, like do stuff that isn't an attack that will like make them fight on death. Like lower the amount of potentials that'll happen. And then it's still on a 4-up in that case. So like it might happen all the time. It might happen none of the time. Right? That's the thing. It's just as volatile for your opponent as it is for you. So when you do a charge, just make sure that you understand that you might just lose the unit. And that's it. There's nothing else you can do. You can't let it stop you from playing the game. That is my food for thought. I love my Desolation Marines. Boo! Emperor Zanan. Boo! That mean Return of the Void Raven? Yes, Robbie, it does. The Void Raven, if Desos be a thing again, Void Raven Bomber be a thing again. The next detachment I'm going back to is Sky Splinter Assault. I've played Spectacle Spite a lot. I played Cabalite Cartel a lot. I've now sort of like developed a Real Space raid list, which I'm very happy with. So I'm going to call Real Space raid development done. Now I'm going to go back to Sky Splinter Assault. I'm going to develop a really cool Sky Splinter list with a bomber, of course, because that's my calling card. Step 1 for dealing with fights on death, bring Scourge. Shooting, right? Oh, wow. Wow. Who would have thunk that? Granted, those were hull spam VV lists. Yeah. The Virulent Victorum lists are mean. Yeah, I don't like them. Step 2, remember that you have 2-3 times as many units, so who cares if you trade 1 for 1? Yeah, but they just don't do as much damage, right? Like your 1 for 1's different, but yes. You know, you have to, it is a trade, basically. But I hope that answers your question too much, Coffee. You know, at the end of the day, like, if having shooting is super important, and then going from there, it's like just understand the consequence of you making that charge. Like you make that charge as a consequence, you're going to probably lose the whole unit, and then that's it. It's like, what else are you going to do about it? Moving on, no, I want a bomber so badly. That model is amazing. Johnny D. Leo, yeah, I own 2 of them, so I like bringing 2 every once in a while, but one of them is fun, so. Hi, Skari, says Nobilis. Hello. Last week, you were not able to answer my question due to the lack of content. Lack of content. Yes. I can't give you... I was like, I can't answer this question without context, because you were like, how do I win against this army? And that was it. I was like, well, what's the context? What are you talking about here? So try to follow up. Here's my question from last week as a quick reminder. How do you handle army that's just standing on circles? 3 Necron Wars with characters, Terminator bricks, just standing in no man's land, objectives of watching and not dying. So that was a very... Yeah, broad question, as you can see. To be clear, standing on circles means being on objectives. Yes, which I gathered. Last times I've played it with Reapers, against it with Reaper's Wager. So in terms of overwatching, like, Reaper's Wager does help against the Overwatch #1, so that's pretty cool. Do you feel Drukhari Codex is well balanced internally? Some people swear that Witch Cult SOS is ahead of everything. Witch Cult SOS is not about internal balance. It's about the fact that it does something that nothing else in the game does, which is disrupt a movement phase completely, which is not something we've ever seen. It just does it in... It's like having a surge move that you can control, which is not something that exists in the game. It just exists as an outlier. Like, and it is very strong. Very, very strong. I've used it. It's like pushing crayons up my nose. I could win with a blindfold on. I'm like, witches, right? Which is why I haven't been playing it much, because it doesn't do anything for me mentally. It's fun. It just doesn't challenge me. That's why I've been playing like real Space Raid, because I like a challenge. I like to be challenged. I like to develop my skill set, not just shove things in people's faces and go, right? But it is a list concept that, or an army concept that relies on like 2 data sheets and 1 stratagem, like witches and like Hellions, right? And 1 stratagem, which is I charge you, right? And so it is so vulnerable to it getting completely just flipped over on its head. They either change the stratagem, right, to not do what it does, and then that just kills the detachment, or they change Hellions or they change witches, and that in turn, that balance just kind of gets all screwy, and then it just kills it. So, like, it's powerful and strong, but it's razor's edge on the fact that this is like 1 balance away or 1 change away from just like, you know, it relies on a gimmick, basically. Mentally pushing crayons up your nose wouldn't be good either. That's right. Blood Legion of War for fun. Yeah, Blood Legion does that too, but that's like 6 inches away. You know, it's like not as silly, right? You know what I mean? Like being able to just... Blood Legion is also very annoying that way, but at least they don't really have much shooting, you see, so it's like it balances itself out. You have cannons, but what the cannon's going to do. Okay, moving on. So, from additional context, I've created an example list. So, Luminor, Illuminor with Imhotech, Hexmark, Destroy an Orcan, sure. An Overlord, a Warden, Technomancer, 2 units of Warriors. Yep, that's about right. 10 Lich Guard. Not really something I see very often in competitive lists because they die so fast. 3 Canoptic Swarms. Couple of Locust Heavy Destroyers. That's fine. They're easy kill points, basically. A couple of Tomb Blades. And a couple of DDAs. What generally tends to happen is the following. Both warrior characters step forward and on the flanking no man's land marks, and the Lich Guard with their character center objective. Tomb Blades and Locusts doing missions, the rest is securing backfield and firing lanes. Warriors are overwatching elves to hell. We finally managed to beat them up. They're standing back up 1 or 2 times. In general, it took me 3 turns into primary game. So, yeah, that is a great understanding of the question. So, what I see here is a good example of stop trying to play your opponent's game, right? Now, it's going to change based on whatever mission you play, right? Because if you play like Purge the Foe, you just need to hold 1 objective. You don't need to like really care too much about the middle objectives. The key to playing against something like this is twofold. 1, you're trying to precision out the characters if you can. Of course, if they can bring them back to life with like a stratagem and stuff, it's annoying, but you try and like at least force them to use resources for that. Number 2, you go after the things that are easy to kill first and kill them fast. Kill the Scarabs, kill the Locusts, kill the Tomb Blades, kill the DDAs, kill the Lich Guard, which is, they can't give them a feel no pain or anything like that. Like, Techno Monsters can't go with them. Kill the Lich Guard. Like, honestly, the Lich Guard and everything else, super easy to kill. Just kill all of the stuff that is easy to kill. And then the warriors have to do stuff. And then tag the warriors with like a raider. Yes, they might be able to fall back or whatever. Like, just tag them, force them to fall back and potentially shoot, or just not shoot at all. Don't try and kill the warriors, because then they reanimate and they get on more objectives and take up more space. Yes, they're going to get onto the middle objectives, that's fine, but you have to kill everything else around them. If you can kill everything else around them, the rest of the game becomes a lot easier. Stop trying to, like, if they just shove warriors into your army and you're just like, I'd like to kill the warriors, you're playing right into their game. Try not to do that. Yeah, try and move block them so they can't move past you. Like, use screens, tie them up in combat so they're not like shooting as much with like raiders or venoms or like vehicles, things like that. And then kill everything that's going to score them points. So then they have to use 20 Necron warriors to cleanse or establish locus or, you know, get onto like an objective and that sort of thing. And that's like generally how I would approach a matchup like this. And then when you need to kill the Necron warrior bricks, which eventually might have to happen, right? So you have to maximize. Number one, try and kill the warrior brick that doesn't have a feel no pain first, and do things like grenade, which isn't an attack, tank shock, which isn't an attack, right? And then shove something like Lilith in there that has anti-infantry attacks, right? That you can just kill it. And if you can, like, just if you're going to focus on it, you have to focus on it with absolutely everything. But if it only works if you get rid of things like the Lich Guard, the bikes, the Tomb Blades, the DDAs with your haywire guns or whatever. Super important. So just something to keep in mind. Yeah, thanks a lot. If you want to hit that like button, that really means a lot. Thanks, fellas. One thing I always hear is, well, they can just do X for a CP, but it's never a bad idea to force your opponent to keep using the CP, especially with a Vector character, because it opens up other plays. Yeah, that's right. You know, it's something like Vect auras, like forcing, even if your opponent's going to Overwatch, like put Vect nearby and then go, oh, you can Overwatch me if you want, it just costs you 2 CP. And it's like, you want them to use their resources effectively. So if you play into their game, though, that's the key, Nobilis, is like, if you just do what they want you to do, then you might as well just give them the win. You want to make them play your game, right? Spread out, force them to use their units differently, fall back from combats. You want to clog the works up, right? And hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what I envision when you're going against an army like that. I took 60 witches with 4 splits on RTT at the weekend. One of the highlights for me was just the excessive amount of chaff those 5 witches units are MVP. Witches are incredible. One of the reasons I added a second unit of witches to my real space raid. Yeah, I actually just 2 witch squad and a venom to split them up, and fantastic. So like 2 squads of witches and a Cavalite warrior squad are quickly becoming like my main battle line unit. Yeah, in most armies. Kisme says, "Hey Skari, hello. My last match felt like being chanceless destroyed. Even though I realize there's been done a lot of mistakes, it crushed me mentally in a way I thought I'll never touch this game again. That sucks. It sucks to feel that way. If you ever experience something like this, how do you get back in, especially at a tournament? I feel like this could be a real struggle." So there are 4 stages to like the competitive journey. When I'm coaching someone, it's we tend to go through all these 4 stages and eventually kind of work through them. Number 1 is finding a list and a faction that vibes with you, and so like playing something within like your style of play, aggressive, defensive, etc. So you have to find like your play style. Number 2, it's becoming a sort of like an expert in your field. You need to know everything your unit does. You need to know everything your faction does. If your opponent is correcting you on your own rules, we need work on step number 2, right? Step number 3 is what we call the grind, which is like, it gets boring and dull, but it's about playing the same list over and over and over and over again until ad nauseum, right? It's about just getting through the grind to the point where playing your list becomes more muscle memory than thought process. The last part of the competitive journey is having a championship mentality. Having a mentality. Mentality is like the thing that will help you win a GT, right? It is the thing that pushes you past those tough spots, like you said, Kizzy. Like those games where you just, and it happens to me too. We're all human. We are allowed to feel crappy after a game. We're allowed to feel, we're allowed to, I'm allowed to play whoever I want. Like the last RTT I went to, I conceded my third game against my opponent because they were being unpleasant and I did not want to play against them. And I was like, that's fine. I'm just not going to play this game because I don't want to have this sort of interaction for the next 3 hours. I don't care enough for a win to play against you. That's just how this is. So you can have your win. That's fine. This is not fun for me. Now, the mentality aspect of that is it's about managing, number one, your expectations. You're playing a dice game, so anything can happen, right? But it's about understanding that anybody can win or lose any game and not being afraid to just be like, it is just one of those games. And then you have to look at it in a compartmentalized way where you cannot let what happens in one game influence the next game. Now, if you know anything about sports and about professional athletes, you know that that is what they do. They'll lose a game terribly or whatever. They let goals in or their defense sucked or whatever. And they'll be in the press room and they'll be like, oh, what, you sucked that game. And they'll be like, we're going to be reviewing the tapes, right? We're going to button it up, but we have a game tomorrow, right? And they've already forgotten about that loss. That is key to playing Warhammer competitively, or any sport for that matter. Like, you have to have that championship mentality. It is a skill that is learned. I cannot teach mentality. That I cannot teach. If people are grumpy SOBs or like just have that type of personality that just sucks all the fun out of everything, that you cannot teach them how not to do that, right? That's just a personality trait. But you can teach yourself how to do a few things. Number one, to let yourself feel. Number two, how to bounce back from it. And you put strategies in place that help you bounce back from it. Number three, self-talk. So being able to self-talk yourself into basically a delusion, right? You have to sort of be delusionally positive to keep that mentality up, right? When I lose my first round at the World Championships of Warhammer, and I watch my opponent roll 3 out of 3 Dark Lance saves on 6s for his Trigon, and I go, well, this isn't good, right? I can't let the fact that I've been spending this entire year trying to get to this moment in time to sort of like prove myself, to like try and get to that top spot, and then I lose my first game of the World Championships, and that kind of quashes, like literally kills my opportunity to get into that top spot and stuff like that. And I could either let it bum me out for the entire rest of the event, or I can just be like, you know what? It is what it is, right? I cannot change it, so I cannot control it, so I cannot give it any energy, right? And it's like I've trained myself to do that over a decade of working in sales and playing Warhammer competitively. But you have to work at it. You have to work at it. And you either want to do it or you don't. If you don't want to do it, just be grumpy and let it affect you. If you do, feel it and then let it go. And you literally just have to be like, it is what it is, on to the next one, right? And that's how I would deal with that issue in that situation. Scale Train says, how many times do you play a list before deciding it needs changes? How many times should a newbie play before making changes? That is a great question, Scale Train Station. So over my many years of playing the game, I found that it takes about 20 games. So I've called it the 20 games to perfection or whatever. It takes about 20 games to get a good sense of what a list can do. And it takes about 20 games to fine-tune a list. So you build a list concept, and then I tend to make tweaks to it every 3 to 5 games. So I'll play 3 times, like at least without making any changes, unless I deploy the army and play 2 turns and my concept does not feel right. So it's not about a unit or two, it's about like, I wanted to do 60 witches or whatever, and I put it on the board, and I'm like, ugh, this doesn't have enough transports for my splits, and I have too many units for the deployment zone, and like I don't know what to do with this unit, like it's just redundant, it's just sitting here doing nothing. So then I'll just do some changes, usually after like deployment, I'll be like, I don't like this list. But it takes about 3 to 5 games. Make a couple tweaks, 3 to 5 games, make some more tweaks, 3 to 5 games, make some more tweaks. And then 20 games in, you should have a pretty fine-tuned list. And that's my recommendation. Quoted Daily says, I played my first Drukhari game yesterday, and I had so much fun. That is awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. Rax, Friday, Skari, live, and pizza. Can't get any better. Pizza on a Friday. Boom, delicious. That sounds great. Okay, folks, I'm going to quickly use the washroom, and I shall return in like 2 seconds. By 2 seconds, I mean like a minute, and then we'll go into the list crunch segment. If you have any questions that you want to post, make sure you post them right now, and then we'll go through that in like 2 seconds before we jump into the list crunch segment of the show. I have returned. I have returned. You know what else delicious? A bowl of list crunchos, part of a complete competitive diet. That is correct. For anybody who doesn't know, the list crunch segment of the show is where Scourge, Trueborn, Incubi, and Super Elite tier patrons can post a list every time I do the show. I'll read it, give you my thoughts, and it is list crunch, right? Crunch, delicious, right? It's part of a nutritious competitive breakfast. Definitely something that we can do for that as well. Chair hype. I know. Fancy chair. What chair is this? I don't know. I've had this chair for a long time now. I should probably get a new one. I've really worn this one in. My lumbar support's not as good as it used to be. Quote, Daily says, my list is literally just the real space raid box, old, and new combat patrols and Scourge with heavy weapons. Playing the Carbonite Cartel. Any suggestions for more fun? Yeah, just try some of the legend units if you're having fun with friends. Like a beast pack. Or a bomber, because bombers are fun. Jamie Cottle says, Skari, theory crafting a Covenant list, and I think it has play, partnering them with Incubi and Homunculus to farm battle shocks. Ooh, nice. And add extra durability in addition to the Detachment rule. Opinion? I've played the Covenant list once or twice. It was fine. I found that if you put too many points in Talos and too many points in Rax and too many points in Homunculus, then you're playing it wrong, which is weird. Weird to say. I missed you so much, don't ever leave me, says Brimstone. Ah, that's right. I'll be back, sir. I'll be back. Okay, moving on. Let's go on to the lists. List crunch. Danny Cod says, "Hi, Skari. Another iteration of the list." Ooh, the list. Oh, that's a big money right there. The idea is to run the 10 witches with the incubi with the venom, put 5 witches and 5 cabs in it to allow me sticky from inside, and then try the incubi with malice. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I've been running the incubi with, malice with the combat half of the Hand of the Archon. It's been useful. I like having precision on her. Precision and lethal and sustained for a pain token. It's been neat to have all 3 with malice on a little 5-man murder unit. So Lady Malice, Lady Lilith, Succubus, Chronosard, and Morgana's Curse. Yeah, 10 cabs, 30 witches. Good. 5 incubi, 5 mandrakes, 2 units of Scourge with heavy weapons. See, Scourge. 10 Hellions, 10 Hellions, 5 Hellions, 2 units, 3 Reavers, a Raider, 3 Venom. This is a very good list. Don't change it. Much approve. The incubi is like the one thing that you might want to change. Like, sure. Like, I personally take the extra Archon instead of the 5 incubi, because I like my Cabalites with an Archon, and I like having the extra free grenade and, you know, like, that sort of thing. But that's, like, it is what it is. Like, 10 bits of one and 30 bits of the other. But this is a great list. I like it. I wouldn't change it. Have fun with it. Enjoy. You guys know how 6 Reavers normalized in points with 3s? Yes. Going up in points just meant they are good. If they are good, they must be worth spamming. Just got 2 boxes delivered. 18 bikes! Yeah. They're very good. Their bikes are no joke. Like, I wouldn't run... Personally, I wouldn't run 18. I'd run 1 6 and 2 3s. But that's just me. I like having more... I don't like over-skewing, because then I run into something that's like all heavy bolters, and I'm like... sad. Super duper list says, "I hope you're good 2015. Welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out in chat. Make sure you leave a like, everybody, on the video. It's that little thumb thing. You go like this, boom, and it like helps the video get noticed. However, if you're going to share the video, make sure you share it with people who are going to watch it the entire way through, so that the video gets traction. Because if people just watch it for like 3 seconds, it actually hurts the video more than it helps the video. Mr. Brimstone says, "Hello, Mr. Skari. This is the Night Lord's list. As I mentioned before, I really like running the Lord with the Warp Talons. I feel it gives me some extra punch. Yeah, and the Power Fist and Grenades, which is something we talked about as we were developing your list. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the rest of the list. Is there anything you'd recommend dropping or adding? Also, I'm thinking of dropping the Forge Fiend for Demon Prince with wings that way I can do more Battle Shock stuff. Neat. So, thanks so much for your time. Well, thank you for posting a list, Brimstone. Can you run 18 bikes and 30 Hellions so my Cassies have the perfect profile?" That's funny. I don't own that many. I literally don't own that many. Cypher, yes. 2 times Fabius Bile? Why 2 of them? Chaos Lord and Chaos Lord with Jump Pack. 10 Cultists, 5 Legionnaires, 10 Chosen, 2 Blitz, 2 Blitz, 5 Raptors, 10 Warp Talons, Fortune, and a Chaos Rhino. See, some shooting is good. I personally would not get rid of the shooting. I like the Forge Fiend. I think this list is just about as tweaked as you're going to get it. You've got a decent amount of like chaff to do missions with. You got a big Chosen brick, which can run at someone and create a lot of issue with Fabius Bile. And then you've got the 10 Warp Talons, which literally do uppy downy multiple times over and over and over. You got a Rhino that basically yeets the Lords out with the Legionnaires or whatever. You got the Obliterators from actually you got the Obliterators for shooting. So the Forge Fiend could be switched. What I would do is switch it, play 5 games with the Demon Prince, and see how you like the Demon Prince over the Forge Fiend. Personally, I prefer the Forge Fiend. But that's my thought process. If Skari spams it, it'll get a nerf. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry that most of the nerfs that need... Hey, I haven't actually been to a lot of events lately, which means that any nerfs that we get post this is not my fault, okay? It's not my fault. But, Brimstone, the list is good, solid. If you want to make the change, you do it. But play 5 games, and then make a choice. So, make the change, play 5 games, and then either keep the change or go back to this. That's my professional opinion. Gonna try and participate in Nakman Gauntlet Crusade before the edition ends. Hopefully I don't get noticed by Vect. Hopefully I don't get noticed by Vect either. Because, you know, considering that each one of those things is just, you disappear into the void. Which I think is hilarious. Which is really funny. Which reminds me, I have to, like, set up this, is it me or is it like this? I'm gonna be bald eventually, aren't I? Like my grandfather. Gonna enjoy this hair while I have it, folks. And then eventually I'll just wear toques. Hey, Skari. Here's my revised Magic Marine list. Absolutely, Charlie Sparrow. We talked about this. I actually read it over. I like the changes you did because you and I discussed this on our coaching call. And I like the fact that you're like you fine-tuned it and kind of you cut out a lot of the like fat, right? That wasn't really doing much for the list. So this is, of course, the Librarius Conclave, which is still a very strong army list archetype for anybody who doesn't know. It is not terrible. Judiciary, Librarian. So Phobos, Terminator regular, and Lieutenant with combi weapon. And then Lieutenant in Phobos armor. You have, you did take out Tigerius, which does make me sad. But I guess you want to make sure you have a Librarian with Fusillade. Does Tigerius have Terminator armor? Can he join Terminators? I'm just curious. But the sustained is pretty good for the Terminators. Yes, as far as the Librarian list. This list, by the way, is like, the damage output of the Librarius Conclave is one that I think is slept on. It has a lot of damage potential. I've seen it in the hands of a player who plays it often, is like insane damage output. And it's not something you see very often. But that's the thing is, this is a great example of why I say you can play any detachment, because you literally can. As long as you understand what your detachment does, you build a list that you vibe with, and you practice it. And your opponent will not know what hit him, because it will be you making the meta. That is, if you take anything from listening to what I say, is you create your own damn meta, and you build whatever the hell you want, and you just put the effort into making it work. And then you go to a tournament or whatever, and you show people why it's good, rather than people telling you that it's bad. No, you tell them why you like it, by proving it on the table. Okay. An Impulsor, yep, makes sense. Assault, Intercessor, Jump Packs, good to have some trash. We talked about that. Small Blade Guard Veteran Squad with the Judiciary, just as a nice little counterattack threat. I think every Space Marine army would benefit from like a little fights first murder unit like this. An Eliminator Squad for shoot and scoot. An Incursor Squad for the Scout. An Infiltrator Squad to stop people from getting close. Then you add the Phobos Lieutenant or Phobos Librarian, and then they get, is it Phobos Librarian? Yeah, and they get Lone Up, which is really awesome. An Invader ATV, more trash unit to do actions with. A Land Raider Redeemer, just to run around flaming stuff, always a fun unit. A Scout Squad, more trash to score points. A big brick of Stern Guard Veterans. In this detachment, they are chef's kiss. They are so good. A Suppressor Squad, another cheap unit. A Terminator Assault Squad, I believe there's just 5 of them. To go with the Terminator Librarian for some like just aggression and hitting on 3s and stuff, and a Whirlwind. I see the Whirlwind in it, and I love it. It's just, watch the battle report from this, like, that I'm posting, that goes up in like half an hour. If you want to see what a Whirlwind can do, Ben's Whirlwind was on fire. Okay, no spoilers, but like, oh my gosh, that Whirlwind was just insane. Just insane. I hate Whirlwind so much. And that's why I would put one in a Marine list. Desolation Marines are only 10 more points. I think Desos are better. But a Whirlwind is a good choice too. Damn, I love Skari's takes. Well, thank you, Svidnar. We spend too much time, money, and effort playing this game to be grumpy about it or to let people tell us what to do. It is a freaking game that we can kind of put as much or as little effort as we want into it. And I'm not going to let somebody tell me what's good or bad. I'm just going to do it myself. Like, I create meta, right? Like, I just make the meta, and everything around me adapts to my meta. So you can do the same thing. Just practice your shit. Practice it. Put it on. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Play your whirlwind now because I doubt they'll survive 11th Legends Cut. Who knows? But like, how long's it been since they put Primaris stuff out? 2007, 2008. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like they've been slowly weeding out all of the firstborn stuff, right? I wouldn't be surprised if that sort of like remains the like at some point all the firstborn stuff is just going to be not in the game. Like it is Primaris Marines. Like that's why I rebuilt my entire Black Templar army with the from the Primaris line, because all the old stuff is likely going away. I've got this on my paint table, a Crusade Ancient, and I've got this guy on my paint table as well, an Excruciator. Yeah, they look so cool. I can't wait to finish them up. I accidentally started a minimum 2 Gladiator Space Marine meta in my local area. See, and that's the thing. We have sway as gamers. Like you put something, like you can make and like the zeitgeist of what you see online in terms of what is real is different. Like you can have TTS lists that are like, this is the competitive list, right? 60 witches and 6 venoms and whatever it is. It's, yeah, on TTS that's great, but not a lot of people own all that or paint it, right? Like the same back in the day, my best example of that is back in 9th edition, there was a Custodes list that was like the Bane, which was 25 Sagittars or whatever, the Custodians with the heavy bolter last cannons, that all had a Misericordia, which was like 6 attacks, and you ran the 2 banners to give them like +1 attack and something else, and they all had like fights first or whatever. It was like they had like a ton of attacks and a heavy bolter, and you had 25 of them. And on TTS, you saw this list freaking everywhere. Then you go to real life. Who in real life owns 25 Sagittars? Maybe a few people, but not enough to be a thing at tournaments. It's just not a thing. So like there is this disconnect between reality that we experience going to events and tournaments and stuff, and complete fiction, which is just theory crafting. It's been a bit. Put a Cabalite Warrior unit, the Grenade War Gear, then it splits. Only one gets the Smoke Grenade keyword, right? Yes. Chainsaw Biceps. The unit with the Sergeant is going to have the grenade if you have the little Phantasm Grenade Launcher on it. As for Hand of the Archon, though, they have the grenade keyword, so both halves have the grenade keyword, which is why I've run the Sergeant with the little banner, because then it becomes OC4, which is, or OC2 goes to OC4 if they're on the cool objective that Malice picks, or whatever, so that's pretty cool. I don't get how people run so many practice games in TTS. I have to be in person to get my games in. Hey, TTS is a fantastic tool for practicing and testing things. I do recommend it if you want to get better at the game. It gives you more chances to play the game. But it's definitely not real life, okay? Here's another pet peeve of mine. You can tell when someone spends too much time on TTS when you put up a deployment or whatever, you measure the movements and stuff, and they go, this model should be able to move 6 inches and hide behind this without you seeing me from here. And I'm like, that's impossible on this table. Like, that physically is not going to work here. They're like, but on TTS it works. I'm like, that doesn't matter. We're playing real life Hammer, okay? It's like, that's just not possible. It drives me nuts. Indeed, and that's why you get people popping the shields off a Blade Guard to run them as Victrux, yeah. That's right. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big proponent of WYSIWYG, and I'm a big proponent of, like, of equipping your models WYSIWYG, like, with the equipment that they have, because it stops the bullshit of people just meta chasing. Put the goddamn effort in, find out what the weapons are, put the real weapons on, glue them, magnetize them, pop them off, paint them, put the effort in, okay? I put the effort in, so you can too. Moving on before I go red in the face. By the way, I like the list. Like, we talked about it, you made the changes. Now it's a matter of putting it on the board and like putting it on the table and practicing with it and just making sure. Like, I think you might, in this case, what I feel you might find is you have a little bit too much trash. right? Because you have the suppressors, you have the scouts, you have the invader, you have a lot of little trash. And if you find that you have a lot of trash and not enough damage output, two of the trash units could be combined to sort of like make a heavier hitting unit, right? So there's a little wiggle room. The thing that I would like to potentially see in this list is something, put in either Tigris if you can, but also put in a unit of regular intercessors for the sticky. I really think sticky objectives is very, very useful in the current meta. Slash says, but I did it in a flight simulator. I should be able to do it in real life. Oh, that's a great analogy. Just because you can do it in flight simulator doesn't mean you can fly a plane. Eventually, I'll have enough Scourge to WYSIWYG. Yeah, like you can convert Sly. Like you can convert um, there's ways you can convert the weapons. You can trade like 3D print, like or find 3D prints of the weapons, right? Like it's a lot easier to get your hands on the things you need, like just specific bits and things. Like don't buy 10 Scourge kits to get the Dark Lances. Like buy your 3 units of Scourge, right? And then get the bits from trading or finding your friends or like scour online or convert them or just do something that's not just like, oh, I just built them as the box said and they're all Dark Lances because nobody knows the difference. That's a lazy excuse. My second-hand Ravagers didn't come with bits. Yeah, I know, Sophie, sometimes it happens, you know, but it is one of those things where you can convert them, you can source them, right? It's about putting that, like, even if it's not a Dark Lance, like if it's a Disintegrator, say it comes with Disintegrators or the bits that you don't have, like just convert it. Like grab different bits from your bits box and make it look different, right? So then it could be a Disintegrator or a Dark Lance because it's just converted. It's a weapon on the Ravager that I've converted that's different. I've put the effort in. So now I get to call it whatever the hell I want because I put the effort in. At this point, I'm regretting hacking up the Disintegrators from my Ravagers to convert Haywire Scourges. That also happens too, you know? It's one of the reasons I spent the time magnetizing every single shoulder in my Scourge and magnetizing every weapon that I have for my Scourge. Because I played a lot of, like, number one, I've played Games Workshop games long enough that I know that every once in a while, they'll be like, okay, this weapon that was really effective this edition is going to be really shit this edition, right? You're like, okay, I need to switch those weapons. It's another reason why when I'm gluing special weapons and sergeants, I use super glue, not plastic glue, because then I can just pop it off and paint it like a new arm and just glue on the new arm. Works every time. Yes, chef. Animo says, I just brought 25. See, that's another option. Just buy a bunch of Scourge. Definitely something you can do. Moving on to the next list. No, Nick says, last week you liked my war host list. I did, actually. Let's get your take on my aspect host list. Ooh, okay. Let's take a look. 2,000 points exactly. That's my kind of army list. Jane's Arm, 5 Banshees. Check. Autark with 5 Banshees. Check. I like that. In a Falcon. Good. Lycus, 5 Siders. Check. Fugan, 5 Dragons. In a Falcon. They destroy things. Rapid Ingress threat. Yep, I like Fugan and 5 Dragons. Like, in a Falcon, not necessarily, like, it's for the Deep Strike. I can see why you'd want to do that for the Deep Strike. Especially since they can't just, like, sit in the back and then, like, yeet forward with Star Engines anymore, because that whole dynamic has changed. And you didn't really bring them in till turn 2, till 3 anyway. And you're probably just running 5 with Fugan anyway, right? The key there is if you, I guess with a Rapid Ingress, it's great because you Rapid Ingress, get out, go move, shoot something, charge something, kill something, and then pop in with Skyborn protection or whatever it is. So that's not a bad idea. So you 2 units of Reapers, 1 unit of Dragons, 1 unit of Rangers, 2 units of Shining Spears, 2 units of Shroud Runners or Wind Riders. Okay. I like the Hawks even in this, but Shroud Runners, like I'd probably do 1 and 1, like a Shroud Runner or Wind Rider. Shroud Runners for the Scout and the extra Ignore Cover. I think they do the Ignore Cover thing. Then Wind Riders to like get rerolls against stuff on objectives, to like kill little trash units or whatever. Another option is to take a couple of the Warlocks on jet bikes, which give you some like little pieces to play the game with, which are really cheap and fast, right? And then a unit of Spiders. Personally, that's the same thing as last time. Is the double Shining Spears? Is it working for you? If it is, awesome. If not, I would try and put in another unit of Spiders. Spiders are by far one of the best units in the book, and I love them. Yeah. And I think you should always start with like Lycus and spiders and 2 units of 5 spiders. And then like everything else kind of fits into place, in my opinion. But I really like that list too. No, Nick. Of course, this one has like the reroll ones to hit, reroll ones to wound, etc., etc. And the double falcons is interesting. The banshees and a falcon. Like I really like what Apotheosis in the Discord does, or Chris. He has a big unit of 10 banshees with an Autarch and a wave serpent. That unit is awesome with the -1 to be wounded or whatever. From one of the enhancements, and they rarely get shut up in a single phase, and then he can just like reactive move them back into the Wave Serpent. They are like excellent. I really like that big unit. It does work. Zvidar says, I brought a second-hand Void Raven Bomber that happened to have Void Lances magnetized. I can't find an STL for Dark Sides. Any recommendations on what would make good proxy for those? Well, look at Eldar stuff too. Like the Eldar planes, like have little guns as well. You could probably use, like they're little. You could probably use a combination of bits. Like in terms of the way that they look, they're like squished and slit, like squished and slit. So you could probably do something with like a couple of shoulder pads and like some green stuff. Like you could kind of make something, you know, that looks like a little, like a little, like thing that's like a little oyster or whatever, which would be cool. I don't know. There's probably a couple of things you could do. You could probably grab, like even if you grabbed like just made the Void Lance stubbier, right? Like, or grabbed the Void Lance thing and made it stubbier, and maybe like added maybe some blades to it or something. Like you could make the lance, like add some blades or some whatever to make it look a little different, like a haywire blade lance thing or whatever. There's lots of choices for that stuff like that. Funny that, a few more boxes of Scourge is on the menu. I have a friend who's a 40k hoarder, recently started buying Drukhari kits off of him, got the old Christmas box off him recently. Nice. The old Christmas box. Oh my goodness, is that like the 20 years ago box, the one that I started my Drukhari one with? Oh man, that's an oldie. That was like, yeah, that was how I started my Drukhari back then. Spiders are so annoying, it's like whack-a-mole. And even worse, Imperial Guard have any infantry, I move to deal with them because it'd be overwatch. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because spiders don't do very well into Spectacle of Spite, do they? Because they zoom up past the wall and you go, I charge you. Just no lance. No one knows about the difference. Just use the lance. Crispy, we just talked about this, okay? I just talked about it. Nobody knows the difference, but I do, and I care. So everybody else should care. And you should not listen to internet pundits, except for me. You should listen to me. The one with the razor wing in it. Yeah, oh yeah, that's the kit I got. That's the kit that literally spearheaded me back in the day. Most of the models I still use today are literally the same Cabalites, the same thing that I used from back then. They're the same kit. And I painted them 15 years ago in 2010, and they're still the ones that I have to this day. Yeah, and they're still the competitive models. The Cabalites, the Witches, they're the unit I use to this day are the ones I bought in that box. Yep. Moving on, No Nick, thanks for putting that. Pedal Warfare says, gotten advice the last 3 weeks and been able to test to find that my last 165 points is in flux. Okay, neat. So it's good. That's about a Talos unit, right? So you're playing a Cabalite Cartel, and you've got 165 points to play with. But this is the core. Okay, so we have like a core. You're like, I don't want to change this. Amazing. Lady Malice, 10 cabs. Double Venom, 2 Chronos, a hand. 2 units of 5 Hellions, 2 units of 5 Mandrakes. A Ravager, Ravager, Ravager. 2 units of Scourges with Dark Lances, double. Oh, you already have the double Talos. So ideas on the last 165 points. A Raider, 5 more Mandrakes, or 5 Hellions. Okay, 5 more Mandrakes and 5 Hellions. 10 Witches and a Venom. I sneakily think this is the best edition, but I haven't had a chance to test the above. Witches are very good, as we've discovered. Very, very good. Now, you are not running any Archons in this, and you're running Cabalite Cartel. I would love to see an Archon in there, to be honest. 80 points for an Archon would give you 65 and 15 would give you what, 90 points? No, 80, 20. So it's plus 20. Or 80 plus 20, 65, so 85 points, and then you get another unit of Hellions or more Mandrakes. So personally, I would go for an Archon with the Leech Bite, and then Leech Bite plate and 5 more Mandrakes. That's where I would go, I think. 70, so 85? No, maybe not that. Maybe Hellions instead. But that's kind of where my head's at. I'd like to see an Archon in there, another Archon, because I will say I changed my Cavalry Cartel list to have the Archon in the Webway All as a Warlord to help, and then Malice is now going with the Hand of the Archon and getting a little bit more aggressive early in the game, and I'm really liking that dynamic more than having her solo as a Warlord. But I like having the Archon with like 5 Cavalry Warriors that comes in as a deep strike rapid ingress threat, like just like comes in randomly, and then I can use the stratagem on them to make sure that even if they're off the board, to make sure that I can get my keep them alive, keep my cartel safe, etc., etc., etc. So that's the kind of thing that I've been doing. I would recommend that. The other option is, like, you don't really need the Raider, I don't think, in this detachment, but 5 more Mandrakes, so you have one big unit of 10 Mandrakes in this detachment is excellent. The Hellions are great, and then an Archon. Like, really, that's where my head is at. Yeah, so that's my food for thought, Petal. Moving on, we have too much coffee. Yeah, brooding clowns. I'm not brooding a-hole clowns. I love it. Eldrad, Solitaire, 2 Troop Masters. Storm Guardians, 2 units of troops with swords, 1 troop with special weapons, 1 with special weapons. You had 15 points. Yeah, makes sense. 2 Star Weavers, 2 Falcons, 1 Rangers, 2 units of Shining Spears, 2 units of Sky Weavers, and a Conclave. Interesting. So, number one, I've played into the Harlequin detachment a couple of times now. I really like a lot of the stuff here. The Falcon is excellent. The troops, I don't think you need the troops with special weapons. I think they can be swords, and that's just better in general. Double fusion, double neuros, and all of them. Power sword on the sergeant, right? That's just like a standard. Storm Guardian is just sticky, sure. Eldrad, I've seen him go by himself. You are running the Shining Spears to give you some, like, counter punch. I don't think you need the 2 units of Shining Spears. I definitely want to see a Warp Spider unit in there. Played against Harlequins with Warp Spiders, and that was incredibly annoying to deal with. If I didn't see Warp Spiders in your list, I'd be like, oh, thank goodness. So just thinking of, like, Warp Spiders makes me anxious. So put Warp Spiders in there. Yep. I think my major strategy is Primary Denial, which this list is very good at. Deleting opponents' chaff and scoring, which this list is very good at. Basically aiming for mutually low primary and eking out the win on secondaries. Do you think I have the right mix of pieces here? So, yes. Except the things I would change are try and put in some Warp Spiders. And I think you just double down on the swords. Especially if you're running, like, just double down on the swords, to be honest. Solitaire is excellent. Eldrad is excellent. Sticky Objective Storm Guardians, excellent. The Conclave, interesting choice on the Conclave. I guess you could put them all in the Guardian unit. Just have like one little brick, which also helps with like Cull the Horde. So it's not an auto redraw, so your opponent has to like hold on to it, which is really annoying. If you're trying to play that primary game, definitely something to strategize around as well. But I like the list. And then the Shining Spears, I just put Warp Spiders. Like, tweak it a little bit, and let's see what you can do with the Warp Spiders. Daniel says, hey, Skari, sorry for being invisible lately. No problem, Daniel. But I have been thinking about suggestions, and finally... Oh, I didn't actually change this thing here. Hold on a sec. What? Oh, I didn't do it properly here. There we go. And finally broke and added them to my list. Let me know what you think. I hopefully will be able to get in a game with you soon. Yeah, that'd be great. So, Questoris Companion. So, Castellan, Crusader, Warden, Helverin, Warglaive. Good choice, especially with all the point changes. And you've got all 3 of the enhancements. Then we have a Priest, 2 units of Sister Battle Unit with an Immolator and a Callous Assassin. So, I love that you have extra trash. Like, the Priest is, of course, a way to kind of fit in some points. Like, you're spending 10, 20, 35, so 65 points with a Priest. You're almost in a spot where you can add a Navigator. If you could add a Navigator, that would be better than the Priest. I would even drop all of the enhancements to add like a navigator if that would be possible, because navigators are great. I can't wait to test it out. Like knights are in an interesting spot where like they just don't have the durability they used to have, but they do have the damage output. And I think that the sisters and the priest and the Calidus elevate any sort of like knight army or custodes army into a like a playable way. It's like use those allies effectively from Agents of the Imperium, and you should be getting some better results. But I know you've been very busy with life and stuff. Let's get that on the table and see how it feels, and then we tweak from there because you have different options. Especially if like depending instead of a Castellan, you could do like I don't know another Paladin, or like you could maybe save some points there and add some points elsewhere. Maybe another Helverin, so you could have like two Helverins, two Warglaves, and three big knights, but maybe the cheaper big knights, right? To then add just an extra unit, that sort of thing. So things to keep in mind, but I'll keep an eye out on the list development as we go. Moving on, we have Sirikir says, Eldari Strike Force, Serpent's Brood. These new Harlequins detachments, it's awesome to see. Let me know, by the way. Have you played into the new Harlequins? Have you seen it being played? It feels like Harlequins again, if you ask me. We have Eldrad, a Troop Master, another Troop Master, a third Troop Master. Storm Guardians, 5 units of troops, 4 Star Weavers, a Falcon, 2 units of Sky Weavers, and 2 Void Weavers. This, by the way, very, very similar to what I played against in the battle report that'll be up. Not this week yet, but next week. And the only difference here is that instead of the true Storm Guardians, it's Warp Spiders. And the Warp Spiders were very good. Yeah, I like the Storm Guardians, but only if you also have Warp Spiders, in my opinion. That's all. I played against this. It's great. Very good list. I wouldn't really change too much. Cody says, I played into Serpent last night. What the world isn't that? Just do a move strat. First time? That's the kind of stratagem we had in like 8th and 9th edition. Like so many armies had a fight and run away stratagem even before your opponent got to fight. Like those stratagems have been around forever. They finally started putting them back in. It's insane. Very similar to like, the one that Dark Eldar had in Sky Splinter. Just don't have it on a unit of bikes, right? What to take out for Warp Spiders? I take out the Storm Guardians. Unless it's not 1-for-1. If anything, you could probably get away with 4 troops. So 4 troops and a Star Weaver, and then put in like Warp Spiders and maybe Rangers or something. Like there might be some points in there. It was very cool. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Crispy posted a list, says no Bullgrin list, going heavy on tanks. So Grizzled Company tanks. Cadian Command Squad, Gaunt's Ghost, Lord Solar. I love how now you've buttoned down and taken less points in characters. Excellent. I love this. This is great for Guard. Cadian Shock Troops and Jungle Fighters. Good. A little bit light on there, but you're going in all tanks, so they're more of a support unit. That's fine. Torax, that's fine. Mortars, good. Double Casterkin, excellent for the Toraxes. Good. Leman Russ, Vanquisher. Cheap Leman Russes. Rattlings, amazing. Rogaldorn, good. good. Aquilons, awesome. Threat, and Scions for some dude. Like, I like this list. Trash to score points, damage output from the Rogaldorns, board control, and and a Rough Rider unit. Amazing. This list is a great all-round list. I would play this list. That's how much I like the development of this list. The only thing I don't have is Rogaldorn, so for me, they would be like 2 other Leman Russes, because I don't own Dorns, and then I'd probably put in like Bullgrin, because why not? But other than that, I like it. Yeah, it's good. You get a seal of approval. List crunch sealed. No Billis says, hi Skari. Hello, No Billis. Here's my updated version of my Sky Splinter list. Ooh, very cool. Lady Malice. Lilith Hasprax and the Archon with Nightmare Shroud, Huskblade. Good. 10 Cabs, 10 Witches. Good. 10 Incubi. Good. 5 Incubi. I would switch that. 5 Mandrakes, 5 Mandrakes. Good. 3 units of Scourge. Amazing. 5 Hellions. Good. 2 units of Reavers. Good. Chronos. Good. Ravager. Dark Lances. Yeah, decent. Raider. Good. Venom. Good. So the thing I would probably change is I would drop the 1 Raider to another Venom, so I could split. Like I'd have the 10 incubi as the big brick, right? More than anything. And then I would take the 15 points and the points I saved from the incubi, 105 points, and put in like what, another Ravager or another Chronos. Another Chronos plus something else, right? That sort of thing. Just a couple of things that are in my brain. Mr. Zombie Carrots, I just recently started Drukhari. I started GSC, but holy, I'm going all in on Drukhari. Amazing, Mr. Zombie Carrots. Love the lore and aesthetic of everything, and your knowledge is immensely helpful. Thank you very much. It means a lot. I do appreciate you stopping by and saying hello, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the faction. So, Nobilis with the list. Yes, I like it. The thing that's missing in my heart is a Void Raven Bomber. But the only way you could kind of fit that in is dropping a Dark Lance unit, dropping the Incubi unit, dropping like a whole Raider, basically. And then maybe you have enough points to put in a Void Raven Bomber. But that's what I would do. I am going to be building a Sky Splinter Assault list. Is my next sort of like project. And I am going to be on Happy Crumping Wargaming later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing a live stream with Happy Crumping. And we're just doing a live stream on TTS. So we're going to play a game. I'm probably going to run something silly. Probably my first iteration of my Sky Splinter list. So stay tuned, because it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Moving on. Kisme says, every Space Wolf player I talk to, they tell me this detachment isn't viable competitively, but here I go again. I think it's a great detachment centered around the best data sheet, quote-unquote, Space Wolf have. So Champions of Fenris. So Champions of Fenris, playing against lots of Space Wolf players, has lots of cool options, but it is a little bit restrictive in how it works. But if you're willing to play within the restrictions, it does have play. You just have to make sure you're playing into its strengths instead of trying to play this detachment like a bad Gladius, right? So don't try and play it like bad Gladius. Play it like a champions list, which just requires you to play it differently than the like what you're seeing. You have to unlock it. You're going to have to find out what works. Arjak Logan, Ragnar, Combi Lieutenant, Chaplain Terminator. Fair. JPI, Assault Terminators. 2 units of small Thunderwolf Cav, 2 units of Vanguard unit of Vanguard Veterans, 6 Head Takers, and 2 units of Terminators, and Canis Rex. So you put a whole support element in Canis Rex in there. So it's like 400 points. Excellent. That could be other stuff, sure. Personally, I'd like to see you go more all in on the... I like the Assault Terminators now hit on 3s. It's a lot of little chaff units. The thing that I'm missing here is I'm missing the chaff. Like other than the 5 JPI, you don't really have stuff in there, and the Lieutenant, you don't really have stuff that plays the mission very well. So and especially if you're trying to rush your opponent, investing or finding the points in like an infiltrator unit to just hold your backline and just be able to hold your backline with one unit and have everything else move up the board would be valuable. So just something that I would recommend. Canis Rex, of course, is a boss. He dies faster than he did before, but he still punches really hard and shoots really hard. So it's like you can shoehorn him into any detachment. And then the Wolfguard Head Takers, I would probably, in this style of list, I'd split them into 2-3s. Or I would try and make sure they also come with their wolves. Like, find the points for their wolves, so then you can screen your backfield with like just little trash wolf units. So you can send all the important stuff up and have the least amount of things protecting your backfield, so you don't have to worry about that. You're going to make Games Workshop increase the Void Raven to 300 points. Maybe. That's my goal, though. By the end of the edition, it has to be 300 points. Champions of Fenris isn't the Gladius adjacent one. It's the Terminator detachment. Champions of Fenris. No. I know. I know it's not the Gladius one. Tiny typo. I'm saying that when you play a detachment as specific as Champions of Fenris, you cannot play it as a Gladius, as in the style of Gladius. Like, you have to move away from like the strategies and tactics and unit combinations that people find useful in Gladius. You have to find the unit combinations and strategies that works within that detachment specifically. But I hope that gives you some food for thought, Kisme. Moving on, the last list of today. Of course, this is the last list, so if you have any final questions, we've got a couple of minutes left. Make sure you post them and we will get going. There is a premiere for the battle report that's going to be starting in a few minutes as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you haven't liked this video, like it, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Of course, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's and Happy Hanukkah and Happy Holidays to all of you folks out there around the world. Keep on raiding, keep on being awesome. If you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is on Patreon with the links down below. Huge shout out to all of you, the patrons, without whom none of this is possible. So thank you so much. I cannot wait to come back in the new year. Stay tuned. There'll be battle reports and stuff coming up. And the next live video will be on January the 9th, which, of course, I will come back first of the new year. And it's a final countdown. Yeah, no problem, Tiny Typo. Coming from Custodies, I'm having issues filling up a Drukhari list. Filling up a Drukhari list. Any advice? More trash, Max. More trash. So, Zach says, good morning, Skari. I hope you're doing well. I am. I went 2-0 at my local RTT this past weekend with this list. I had to drop the last round, unfortunately. It is what it is. You know, family first and stuff. Sorry to break your heart by not running 30 Cabalites in the Informant Network, but I went for murder this time. I'm glad you had fun. 2-0. Excellent. Well done. Sad that you had to drop at the end there, but you know what? I'm glad that the list concept that we've been working on is like really developing. Murder is just as good as tactical stuff. Lady Malice, Archon, Archon. Cabalite Warriors, Incubi, Mandrakes, Big 10, 2 units of 5. Nice. 3 Scourge with Dark Lance. You just went for shooting. 1 Venom. Neat. 2 units of Hellions, 2 Reavers, Cronus, and 3 Disintegrator Ravagers. I love this list. I love that you have 3 Ravagers with Disintegrators. That makes me so happy. And 3 Scourge units with Dark Lance. That makes me even happier. Like, you just, like, walked out and went, nuke. That is amazing. I love it. Really, really cool, Zach. I can't wait to see you try it at a different event. And this time you can practice it all with other stuff. Well, folks, that is all for today. Thank you so much for hanging out. And I will see you on the Discord. I will see you on the next one. And continue watching for more awesome content. Let me know what you thought about my hot takes down below in the comments. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I've been Skari, your grateful host. Signing off until next time. Skari out. The Dark Kin.